What's up, guys? Welcome to Knockers on the Bottom. I'm your host, Jay Mill. Jay Miller, if you like. So let's get into it. Today we're back with some video breakdowns. I finally got everything situated and squared away. We're gonna do some video today of the Arizona Cardinals offense against the depressing Dallas Cowboys defense. But before we get into that, our giveaway is going to go off as planned tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode, I'll be giving away a Visa gift card, so stay tuned for that. And before we get to the full video breakdown, I just want to kind of talk a little bit about what the Cowboys rumors have been as far as trades are concerned. So it's a little bit weird right now where the Cowboys stand. They're 3-4-1. They have some assets due to the Michael Parsons trade on top of their own picks and them being a very mediocre team this year. And there's been a lot of rumors swirling around about who they could pick up. Just kind of want to give my 2 cents. I think the Cowboys trading away these picks would be a little bit short-sighted. And I'm not even talking about the second round or the first round picks. I'm just talking about picks in general. I don't think there's any one player that's going to make a huge difference on this defense that's going to cause us to go from being the worst defense in the league to, I don't know, 24th, 25th, right? Because that's pretty much what you need with this offense here. Your defense needs to get about 3 or 4 extra stops per game, whether that's a turnover and 3 punts, whether that's 4 punts, whatever may have you. The defense just needs to force, and I'm not talking about garbage time punts, right? We see plenty of garbage time punts forced from this defense after the game is already in hand. What we need to see is some punts when the game is still on the line, right? Now, some will argue, hey, against the Carolina Panthers, your defense forced a punt, your offense had to punt. They didn't do too much with the football, and you guys lost that game. Carolina went down, kicked the field goal as time expired, game over, right? But that's just one instance. If you look over through the course of the season, when the Cowboys have won, they've usually been so far out in front that the defense, hasn't had to do as much, and the other team is kind of forced to go for it on third downs and fourth downs, and you might be able to get off the field because that team is pressing. Or in the sense of the Commanders, they don't have their true receiving core. Their top 3 receivers are out, and so you're able to play a little bit more aggressive defense with them. I say that to say I don't think they should. Now, am I the end all be all? No, I'm just a person with a microphone and, a YouTube page. So for all I know, the Cowboys might have an awesome idea for a trade out there. They make it, and then all of a sudden they are, the 24th, 25th ranked defense, and, Jason just needs to shut up. But as far as just from what I see, there's a lot of data now. There's been a lot of games, a lot of film. The defense is just overall bad, and we're going to get to see that here today. So let's just take a quick look at the Arizona Cardinals offense here. So right now, taking a look, right, Kyler Murray, he's coming out in a shotgun, and this is a pretty typical set for the Cardinals. They run this quite a bit throughout the game. You got their 5 linemen, 1 running back in the backfield next to Kyler Murray, and the reason why I'm doing the Kyler Murray stuff instead of the Jacoby Brissett film is because Kyler Murray is expected to play this week. So I'm going back and taking a look at how the offense looked while Kyler Murray was there so that we get a better handle on what the Cowboys are going to see when they're playing the Cardinals this week. So the Tennessee Titans, who, also have a pretty bad defense, are setting up. It looks like they have the guys kind of standing up here, but essentially it's a 4-man front. Now this guy's going with the receiver over there, but you still have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys down, and this guy could be coming on a blitz, right? So let's see how the Arizona Cardinals handle the 4-man front with maybe an extra guy coming on pressure. Boom. So it actually ends up still being a 4-man front because this guy showed pressure, but he dropped out. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And the Cardinals initially do a good job of picking this up. The running back's going out there to help. The guy spins to the inside. Now this guy flashes in front of Kyler Murray's face, and this is the problem and the worry that I have with the Dallas Cowboys this week is I foresee this happening quite a bit, right? So Kyler Murray gets outside of the pocket, and now there's nobody there to contain, right? Nobody even gets close or touches him, and he goes right into the end zone for an easy 12-yard touchdown, and it was just basically on a broken play. This was supposed to be a pass play. ended up being a Kyler Murray run, ended up being an easy Kyler Murray touchdown. And I don't know if you guys have heard, but at AT&T Stadium, Kyler Murray is undefeated. So I expect to see a lot of him doing this week. I wish I could say otherwise. Maybe the Cowboys deploy a spy, but they've been reluctant to do so this season. So now let's take a look at the Cowboys here. So the Cowboys, this is lining up in the Green Bay game. Green Bay comes out in essentially the same set, just kind of flipped to the other side. Quarterbacks there, running backs, to the right of the quarterback this time instead of being to the left like Kyler Murray was. They got their 5 down linemen. Cowboys match it with a 4-man front. Plus you have Kenneth Murray up there who's, kind of staying close to the line of scrimmage here. So let's see how the Cowboys handle this. So the Packers, they seem content with what they see. Motion the running back out. This is just simple for Jordan Love to see, is this man or is this zone? He knows it's zone now because nobody moved with the running back. So now he knows, okay, I know what kind of coverage is the Cowboys are going to be playing. So boom, on the snap of the ball, very similar to the Kyler Murray play, right? It looks like the Packers picked this up pretty nice here initially. Running backs here to help clean up anything, that comes through. He ends up going out in a pass. Boom. Cowboys get some pressure, collapse the edge, and Jordan Love, similar to Kyler Murray, sneaks right out of that hole. And what do we have? Wide open space. And this is going to be the problem this week because this is going to happen to us quite a bit. And Jordan Love is, to me, he can run, but he's not even really a running quarterback, yet he was able to pick up 25 yards there. And honestly, he never really got touched. He slid, and Shamar James kind of touched him after he slid. But, I mean, he didn't get touched for 20-something yards. And if that's Kyler Murray is a much faster guy than Jordan Love is, and much more of a threat in the running game. But not only is that going to be a problem, we're going to have problems all over the place because the Cowboys can't stop the run or the pass. They haven't figured out how to do anything well. When the season started, they were stopping the run at a pretty decent rate. But then as the season has gone on and people have gotten more film and more ways to exploit your defense, you're kind of finding out they can't stop the run and they can't stop the pass. And what I'm worried about here is Marvin Harrison Jr. has had an up and down season with the Arizona Cardinals. It's his second year. He is a really good receiver, but for some reason, the chemistry with him and Kyler Murray hasn't quite clicked all the way yet. And I feel like whenever that happens this year, the Cowboys have been used as the game to get everybody back on track, right? When the Broncos offense, we talked about it being kind of up and down last week, but I also said that's what worries me, is because there was no real person to focus on. So the Cowboys were kind of going to be kind of shell-shocked, and a lot of guys were going to be running free, and that's pretty much exactly what happened. In this game, there are going to be people to focus on, right? There's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr., and there's going to be the tight end, McBride, to focus on. But the problem is the Cowboys just don't have the personnel to do anything about what the Cardinals want to do. All right. Now, they're playing against a good defense here, right? This is Seattle, whose defense is pretty good. You see Kyler Murray lined up again. I talked about it. They love to line up in this shotgun set with their running back to the side for protection. In this case, they have 2 receivers to the top. And this, like I said, Seattle, good defense. They match it with the 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, so basically nickel personnel. Let's see what happens here. So he's lined up in the slot. Boom. You see him take an inside release here, right? So you figure inside release plus the safety help over the top, Seattle probably has this pretty well cleaned up, right? But no, the safety for some reason bites to the inside. And if, the Cowboys do that, which they will, they do not have good safety play. So I'm not expecting their safeties to be able to read this very well. And it looks like this guy honestly is just watching Kyler Murray's eyes to see what happens instead of looking at the receiver. He's late to react. And even though there's pretty decent coverage, Marvin Harrison able to go up and high point the football and come down with a touchdown. So even if the Cowboys for some reason are in decent coverage on Marvin Harrison, I mean, can they locate the football? Can they bat it down? I'm hoping that's DaRon Bland there in the slot on plays like that. I hope that, okay, Marvin Harrison normally lines up outside. When that happens, fine. Just let the outside corners match up. But if you see him in the red zone or on 3rd down lining up inside, I would hope that the Cowboys would use that opportunity to take DaRon Bland and match him up inside with Marvin Harrison Jr. I honestly hope they do the same thing with McBride as well. If McBride happens to line up inside, take DeRon Bland sometimes, walk him down in there and let him, go with that guy and carry him throughout the field, right? So let's take a look at the Cowboys defense. Kind of have a similar trouble, right? So in this particular play, Tataroa doesn't line up on the inside, but he does take a very similar release, right? So Carolina here, they're coming out, they got 5 wide, and when I saw this at first, this was early in the game against Carolina, I was like, okay, if the Cowboys can get some pressure on Bryce Young here, this is a favorable look for the Cowboys because we know they only have 5 guys in protection. As a matter of fact, I would have probably been sending someone on a blitz here, but let's see what the Cowboys do. It looks like the Cowboys are in nickel. They got Maris Leafau and 59 on the field right now, and then they match up, with everybody else kind of one-on-one. The safeties are playing a little deep. Looks like the Cowboys are still kind of zoning this up. You got a guy down here showing blitz, which is nice. That I would have actually brought that guy. So let's see what happens. So Bryce Young looks, pretty confident in what he sees. He's not changing much of anything at the line of scrimmage. He's just going through his cadence. Boom. So the Cowboys, instead of bringing the pressure when Bryce Young is back there with no extra back to kind of help protect him, and he's a quarterback that struggles with pressure, instead the Cowboys drop out Solomon Thomas here, which, okay, and bring only 3 guys. So now you're going to give Bryce Young all the time in the world, and that's exactly what he has. There's no pass rush here. But what I really want you to watch is I want you to watch Tet's route here, and let's see if anybody gets a hand on him. Okay, no hand on him, no hand on him. Stems to the inside, then back to the outside. Come on, bro. He didn't get touched off the line of scrimmage, right? The corner was there. The corner was there. Hands. Where are your hands? Why are you not? If you're only dropping 3, why are you not redirecting this guy? But instead, no, lets him get a free release. Boom, he stems to the inside, right? So it looks like it's zone. Bland's got his responsibility here. Murray's dropping back over the middle, sort of like a Tampa 2. And then you got Solomon Thomas just kind of out in space somewhere. So this safety's number one job is to kind of just watch his end of the field, right? It's cover 2. So you have this half, you have this half. And, he sees Tech go inside, right? Sees Bryce Young. I don't know what he's doing here. Does he think the ball's coming now? Because the route's not even great. And still, boom, bites on it, hits the floor, touchdown. It's just too easy. And we watched Marvin Harrison, right, on that most recent play. At least what we could say about Seattle is watch the difference. Boom, guy gets hands on him, right? Gets hands on him. And then he's physical with him the whole way up the field and is in his hip pocket. Now, I do understand that this is a difference in man coverage than zone coverage, but still, there's no way Tet should be getting off the line and not getting touched. I hate it because it just makes me feel like it's almost like a give up. It's almost like a give up. Like, we're not going to redirect him. He's got space to work. So even though his route is average, it still doesn't matter. We have bad coverage. We have bad technique. We have bad eyes. We're not physical. Just all the things that make a bad defense. We seem to have all those ingredients. All those ingredients. So I want to show you one last one here. And this is going to be, I feel like, an even bigger problem for the Cowboys. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a good receiver. Like I said, a little bit of struggles getting on the same page with Kyler Murray, but one guy that's not struggling to get on the same page with Kyler Murray is McBride. McBride is a really, really solid tight end, man. And so we see here, they're playing against Carolina, same formation, likes to get in the backfield, motions the guy out. So now Carolina is just matching this with 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers. They're playing nickel, and their linebackers are actually kind of playing off as well. So Kyler Murray's back here. Nobody's back there with him, right? So now if you want to bring some pressure, you can. But Carolina's not going to bring any pressure. Kyler sends a guy in motion here at the last second, which is not something that Arizona does a lot of. Boom. So you got the 4 linemen bringing pressure, but they're blocked up pretty well. And just watch McBride here. Watch McBride. He just keeps running, runs through the zone. Boom. So open. It looks like the Cowboys defense, right? This is going to be a problem all day long for Dallas. like McBride is going to have a big game because the Cowboys are not good at defending tight ends, and they're not physical defending tight ends. They're not physical defending anybody at this point. But let's take a look at the Commanders. You know, they come out, they have the running back in the backfield, tight end close to the line of scrimmage, two receivers. You know, they motion this guy in a little bit tighter to the line of scrimmage, just kind of bring the corner there. Now, Dallas, right, playing their zones, and Mariota actually probably had a tick more to wait because he has a good pocket here, clean. Dallas doesn't get any pressure at all. I don't know if you're noticing a theme, but he, as soon as the tight end clears that guy, because he knows Dallas is playing zone, he lets the ball go, boom, inside, right? Nice inside break on the run, gets downfield, 27 yards. Looks very similar to what McBride just did. The Cowboys are going to have issues with this on defense all day long. I wish I could say, hey, we're breaking down the film, right? I'm looking at the film. You guys are looking at the film. I'm showing you the play. Which I would imagine in practice that the coach is kind of showing them similar cut-ups, right? He's going, hey, man, you know, you're playing zone on this guy. You didn't get any hands on him on the line of scrimmage, right? The tight end, soon as he got past you, the quarterback just, you know, heaved it to him, right? So get your hands up. Get your hands on the guys. Or in this particular case, if you're the linebacker, get a little bit deeper in your zone, right? Like just give a little bit more ground in your zone, right? Because once he clears that guy, Mariota knows it's a zone. So this guy takes a couple of steps, right? Keep getting deeper. Don't let that guy run past you. You know what I'm saying? You know the responsibilities. You know this guy has outside, right? You know this guy has outside. You know you have a single high safety, right? So you know, hey, there's no one here. So you don't have a responsibility for, let's say, a running back sneaking out of the backfield or a tight end slip screen. No, the tight end's coming at you and you gave him ground right away. And if you're looking, because this guy's looking right at the quarterback, you see he's getting ready to throw. Get some depth. Continue. Nope. Flat-footed. Boom. Completion. So I just don't know where the disconnect is at this point. Is it that the Cowboys are not, you know, reacting in real time? So like, you know, you practice, right? And in practice, they say they're practicing well. So in practice, you must be gaining depth. You must be seeing that ball and knocking it down, right? In the film room, they're showing you this. You're making your mental note. Okay, I understand when I see this formation and I see that I don't have any running back responsibility, and I know that my cornerback has outside responsibility, and there's no one coming across the middle. I see all this. I know it's easy to say, right? Because everything's happening like in a split second. But you are in the NFL. You're one of the best players in the world. So we expect you to read these things in that split second, right? You only have, as Shamar James, you only have a couple of responsibilities there. Responsibility number one is if that running back's in the backfield and that tight end does that, I can see you getting beat on that because you kind of have two things you got to watch for. You got to gain some depth to watch for the tight end, but you also have to watch for the running back kind of slipping out of the backfield into that middle area where that 30-yard line is and making sure that he doesn't get it. But in this case, there was none. So now that cuts your responsibility. Now you know my only job is to get some depth here and not give the quarterback a window to give the ball to this tight end because I know my safety is playing single high. So he's going to be playing deeper than normal, right? So there's going to be a gap there, like there always is in a zone, if I let this guy get behind me, right? If that guy catches it in front of you and you rally and tackle and you get him down at the 35-yard line, nobody's bitching. Nobody's complaining. But the Cowboys don't seem to do that. So it's going to be interesting this week. I expect Arizona to put up points just as everybody. It'll just be, can the Cowboys get those 3 or 4 stops that we need them to get in order for the offense to have a chance? Because just previewing tomorrow, the defense for the Arizona Cardinals is decently solid. So it's going to be, the Cowboys are going to have to work for their points. It's not saying that they can't score, but they're going to have to work for their points. So it's going to be interesting to see how the defense holds up while the Cowboys are kind of figuring out the kinks on offense on how to get through that Arizona defense. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, tomorrow is going to be our gift card giveaway. But hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can hit me up on Twitter at jmill or jmillerIYL. That's jmiller if you like. You can also hit me up on knockersonthebottom@outlook.com, knockersonthebottom@gmail.com. Any questions you have, comments, submit them below. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you guys. Until next time, I'm your host, J Miller if you like. This has been Knockers on the Bottom. Peace.